know what I mean? You can put a label on a life, put a label on a lifestyle, you know? Put a label on how you wake up every morning and go to bed at night.
Is strength training kind of the better vehicle for weight loss? Fat loss, more specifically. In the last video, I talked about how it didn't make sense from an evolutionary standpoint for us to burn muscle and sugar, but never touch fat. It's hugely unhealthy to do that and not rely on fat burning as your health and survival goes. So the question then is strength training more efficient towards shedding fat than things that don't rely on really the harnessing the strength of the muscles, cardio, stretching, yoga, these sorts of things, like honest to God, hardcore strength training? Because think about it this way, strength training, what it really does is it says keep and build the muscle you have. So if you are telling the body, okay, you don't have enough calories coming in from food, you got to get it from your own body, if it starts going after that muscle, you've got conflicting signals saying like, okay, go after a fuel source, but don't go after the muscle, because you kind of need it for these other things. Remember, strength training is literally signals saying, keep this muscle, build more of it if you possibly can. So there's that going for it. The other thing too is strength training in particular burns and uses a crap ton of sugar. A lot of people can beat up on high intensity exercise, you know, sprinting and stuff as well, because they're like, well, it doesn't burn fat, it burns sugar, you know, crazy phosphate system and all this sort of thing. But that may not be a bad thing. Maybe the whole reason why the low carb and less sugar thing is really popular and seems to work for a lot of people is just because they're not burning it off in the first place. You deplete your sugar reserves on your body, and then the sugars and stuff that you consume from your food and your drink can go somewhere. As I've talked about in the past, you know, eating sugar in itself does not automatically make you gain weight, because there's other places where sugar can be stored in the body, not being fat. Your muscle and glycogen and liver and even the sugar in your blood and stuff. Your body can store sugar without turning to fat. So if you're depleting that sugar on a regular basis as much as possible, then you have less of it that can potentially turn to fat. And then of course the other thing too is strong bodies burn more calories overall. And this isn't going along that idea of like muscle boost metabolism or anything like that. It's more along the lines of when you have more strength, particularly in your legs, you can burn more calories much more easily. You know, the example I give all the time is when I used to hike up Mount Mansfield back in Vermont. People with weak legs and didn't have a very strong muscular system, it'd kill them to get up to the top, and then they'd get to the bottom and they'd lay on the couch for a week. But you have strong legs, you run up to the top and you come back down, and afterwards you're like, hey, let's go out dancing, why not? We still have energy. Because they're strong, because you have a lot of strength. So these are ways, and I'm not saying if you do strength training you're going to burn fat. Again, it all comes down to that calorie balance. But I think strength training has a huge advantage to other forms of training. Thoughts down below. Until then, be fit, live free.